These are devotions for people at a social distance. This morning in my devotions, I turned to a familiar passage, a much loved passage in Ephesians 5, Ephesians 5:15 to 20. And it made me think a lot about, where we are right now and at least what it feels like. Because it does feel like we are living in very divisive, and I would even say evil times. There's a lot of things that I find going on in the world that are very disturbing. And, whether it be war, whether it be economic, whether it be legal changes that are happening, a lot are really kind of disturbing to me. And this is a passage I return to. And I think, it does speak to how you react when things when things seem to be evil, when they feel evil. Be careful then, the apostle writes, how you live, not as unwise people, but as wise, making the most of the time because the days are evil. So do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. Do not get drunk with wine, for that is debauchery, but be filled with the Spirit. So what does that tell us about how we respond, to feeling as if we are in evil and difficult times? Here's a few things that it says to me. It says, when things are going wrong in the world, you need to be wise, not unwise. So what does wisdom look like? Well, it looks like, the apostle says, it looks like making the most of the time, right? Which means, I think, comfortingly, it's not up to you to fix everything. It is up to you to make the most of whatever comes before you. Whatever opportunities you do to speak up, to contribute in positive ways to what's happening in the world, yes, make the most of that. But it's not up to you to say, oh, I've got to fix everything that's wrong. Do not carry the weight of the times you are in. I think that's one thing it is saying. And when it goes on to say, do not get drunk with wine, for that is debauchery. Yes, one thing it's saying is, let's not run into addictions. That's not helping anything. Of course, that's true. But I think another way also to understand that is the temptation when we feel, overwhelmed by what's going on in the world and a lot of it feels evil. The temptation is to withdraw and kind of anesthetize ourselves to what's happening in the world. And yes, using substances like alcohol is one way people do that, but there's lots of other ways too. We withdraw into fantasy, we withdraw into sort of, artificial societies, we withdraw into simply, mindless entertainment without thinking about what's going on. That's not a good response either. We remain aware, we remain thoughtful, wise, and engaged. We do not simply withdraw and anesthetize ourselves, but be filled with the Spirit, be filled with God's power to respond and to make the most of the opportunities that come before us. That is what we are called to do when the times are evil. So don't carry all the burden. Don't anesthetize yourself, withdraw from life and thought about these things altogether, but rather depend on God's Spirit to give you the wisdom, the power, the energy to respond and to make the most of whatever opportunities are given to you to do something, and of the time that you have to use it well. This is what we are called to do. Lord, the days do sometimes feel very evil, and we feel overwhelmed. Help us to be wise, not unwise. Help us to make the most of everything you put in front of us. Amen.